for joining us. I picked that up from Biden. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us, is what I actually meant to say. This is the Tuesday edition of the Captive Audience. I'm David Darnell, as you can see, because I changed my name today. And with me tonight is Suni Danforth. How are things over in your part of the world, Suni?
Well, it is, it's pretty good. I'll tell you, we're getting ready, for the Arctic blast, which I'm sure you are as well. But there's no snow on the ground over here. But I'll tell you, the air is cold. The air is cold. It really has a bite to it.
Yeah.
But
Same
beautiful.
down here.
The mountains are covered, and it's just beautiful.
We were supposed to be sunny, or at least mostly sunny this week and dry. But we were mostly cloudy today, and it never got above about 33, 34 degrees. So it was cold. It was cold. Dogs?
Yeah, it was cold. So, Lori, I have no idea if Biden got socked in the nose. I don't know. Today, I've looked at very little news or social media. I've been preparing for a Christmas party tomorrow. I was telling David about earlier. But here we are. We've got a few things to talk about, but I don't know if Biden got socked in the nose or not.
Well, one thing we do know is that another group of 1,000 illegal immigrants, 1,000 in one shot, crossed the border at El Paso again today. I know there was I saw a more mainstream media report on that yesterday, the day before, where there was a large crossing, and we just got word from Michael Yan, who is at the border, has been at the border for a while, and off and on for part of this year, and he said that a Border Patrol friend just told him that a single group of 1,000 hit El Paso today. And they're being released into the community. Homelessness is going to become an issue for them, and the social services of American towns and city will be stretched thin. And which,
and
like every
El Paso.
That's just El Paso.
Like everywhere. That's only El Paso.
Yeah, and there's a Border Patrol report that I saw, I think last week, that showed several sectors. And those sectors had 25 to 50 to 60,000 illegal immigrant crossings. And I forget the time period. I don't know if it was a month or a week or whatever, but it was it's incredible. And, as with all other Democrat policies, letting these people, into the communities of America and having them suck up all of the social services are going to hurt poor people. There's going to be fewer resources to go around. So
you're absolutely right. And I posted. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's just an unconscionable allowance, if you will, by the Biden administration, for this invasion to continue. It's bad for the immigrants because, and we've documented this here before, because of what it takes to get here. It's very, very dangerous. If you're coming up from South America, which many of them are, it's very dangerous to get to Central and North America. And then it's very dangerous going through the northern part of the southern part of North America or Mexico to get here. And it's just no upside. Nobody wins.
There isn't. And I saw that this morning, I saw that there was a report on the news about Mexico was busing them to the border, staging them at the, in various borders. I don't know exactly where that was, but yes, Mexico was then busing them to get them through. And so I posted a story from the Epic Times that came out today, and it says the headline is U.S. officials overwhelmed by immigrant flood at border as case backlog swells to record number. And in this article, it says that there is the latest case-by-case court records through October of this year reveal that there's so many that are getting granted asylum, and yet I think they're illegally asking for asylum. You know, asylum is when you typically, when you go from one country to another country, you don't pass through 3 countries or 5 countries or 10 countries or live outside of your home country. As Michael Yan had come and talked, we had him here on Captive Audience, and he talked about the Cubans that were living in Brazil that then left and then came up here to the United States because, oh, hey, now, you know, they were just living in Brazil for 3 or 4 years and were very well established and working and whatnot. But now the border's open and their ultimate goal was to get to the United States. And so, you know, is that really asylum? No, it isn't. But
No, well, yeah, it's not. I don't think it's in the spirit of the way asylum, is interpreted. Interpreted. And I got a Biden thing going tonight. I'm going to make up my own words. You know the thing I'm talking about.
right.
Come on, man. Johnny's strong as hell, man.
Yeah. So in this story, though, you know what? There is almost 2 million court cases backlogged. And it says in this story that families seeking asylum were given expedited proceedings and moved to the head of the line in front of those waiting in the courts existing nearly 2 million. It's 1,977,988. Okay. It's real close to 2 million. It's not, 500,000 off here. And it's just awful. It's awful that, and so some are getting put ahead of the line. Families are, with a program, which after reading this article, it was a program that I had no idea the Biden administration, I'm catching this from you, David, has.
I got it from the president.
Made something that is said a dedicated docket. And it's a system to move them through faster, through the immigration judges and whatnot. Dedicated docket. And right. So it sounds to me like it's really rubber stamping them coming through. So I had a call tonight before we came on, and someone said, so what are we going to do about this? Because it is 8 days before there are changes that the border is absolutely wide open. So how do we, the people, stop this?
That's a great question. I mean, the Constitution provides that the federal government in Article 4 shall protect the states from invasion from foreign enemies or foreign people. Invasion, and that's what we're facing as an invasion. I'm not sure what the people can do anymore. It seems to me like we can't vote hard enough to get our Constitution back, if you know what I mean. We can't vote hard enough. We can't vote enough. And I'm just not sure where we go from here. In the state of Oregon, there are deaf ears everywhere. I mean, the state is, a open arms sanctuary state, that will take anybody from anywhere, regardless of criminal history or criminal intent or the criminality that they perpetrate while they're here. I think it's probably incumbent upon those border states, to take it upon themselves to do what the federal government is not doing. And I did read an article a few days ago about Republicans in Texas, which Republicans are the majority in Texas, and the legislature have a plan to close their own border because the federal government will not do it. And I think that's about as good as you're going to get. I know that if I lived on the border, I would feel number one, abandoned by the federal government. Number two, absolutely shat upon by the Biden administration. But number three, I would think that it'd be up to me and my neighbors and my state and my county and all of that to close the hole in the border. I mean, a country, a nation without borders is not a sovereign nation. And
No, it isn't.
yeah, and I think we talked about this last week. Maybe it was you and me. I don't know what it was, but even China's figured this out. I mean, they built a 15,000-mile wall.
Right.
I mean, they figured it out centuries ago. And
part of this. So Arizona has, I think, finished their 2-story stacking of shipping containers. The federal government ordered them to take it down, and the governor just said, nope, not happening. And that's his right. That is states' rights, because if the federal government is not going to do, that's their number one job, frankly, is protecting the sovereignty of our nation. That's the federal government's job. And so if our government isn't doing it, the Biden administration is not doing it, the Democrat legislators are not doing it, the Democrat Senate is not doing it, then the states have the right to do that. But part of the problem, and it really came even more so in this article that I had posted in the Epoch Times, is these non-governmental government organizations that are receiving federal dollars to accept these illegals and distribute them throughout the United States. I was on an airplane, sitting next to me, the person that was in the middle seat was of Hispanic, Latin, I would say he was Latino, and had a little plastic bag with him. That was his belongings, like a shopping bag, a real flimsy. The ones we're not allowed to have in Oregon, by the way, anymore. A flimsy shopping bag, and that was his things. And I do speak some Spanish, so I spoke with him a little bit. And when the gal came around, I explained to him that, you can get a beverage for free, and what would he like and whatnot. And, I feel for the people that are leaving wherever they're leaving, because America is still the best country in the world, but we cannot absorb all of these people without them being vetted. And as Trump had said, let's get the best and the brightest. It's not our job as a nation to have to accept everybody carte blanche. No country in the world has to do that.
No country in the world does do that either.
No.
Western nations have borders, and they have border patrol, and they disallow people to come into their country that they choose to disallow. I know that firsthand, because I was disallowed from coming into a country from another country. And I actually had to sneak across the border to get back to where I needed to be, because all my belongings were there. And then when I left that particular country, it was the Netherlands, they wanted to arrest me because I wasn't supposed to be there. So, it's not, this isn't, Europe is not any better on this.
No, and it's the country's right to have sovereign borders. It's okay.
Yeah.
As you know, I used to live on a sailboat. I had to apply we could arrive in a country and could be denied entry. If we didn't, if we did not meet their qualifications, they decided that we're undesirable. That never happened. I saw it happen to people, though.
Yeah, and you know what the qualifications were in most of the European countries was the ability to either, number one, leave the country. Yeah. In other words, you had a ticket to leave at some point in time, or number two, to support yourself. They didn't want bums coming into their countries and in their countries and hanging out. When I left the Netherlands and caught a ferry to Great Britain, I faced the same thing when I got there, because I didn't have proof of a ticket home, even though I had one. It's just, and they didn't want to let me in there to be a bum,
Right.
and someone
And
had to,
that's their sovereign right.
It is
their
their sovereign right.
And also, how many countries, I can't tell you how many times applied for a visa to stay longer than maybe the 30 days. When you arrive by boat, you get different immigration rules typically than if you arrive by air, because you're leaving on your boat, right? You're leaving on your boat. And so typically you will get longer time in a country. But anytime you're applying for a visa to stay longer, you have to show healthcare. You have to show means that you are not going to be a burden on their society, and that's normal.
Right.
And it's
that
not
is normal
in this country.
It is not normal in this country. It is not normal. If this were Great Britain in 1979 or the Netherlands, and I don't know what they are like now. I'm sure they're probably the same way. But when I was there as a teenager, that's the way it was. I mean, we would have people at the border saying, "You can't come in here unless you can prove that you have a way back and that you can support yourself while you're here." And none of these people can do that.
So, David, I've got one for you. I have a friend of mine this goes back several years. She was Australian born, native, lived there for a long time, left, came to the United States, and got her resident visa to stay here, and lived here for 30 years. Decided she wanted to go back and live in Australia. And so she got there, and because she could fly there, right? And they said, "Wait a minute, we need you have to go see a doctor." She, as a citizen of that country, she had to prove that she had financial means and that she was healthy enough to stay there for like 5 years or something. It was a time frame. Because if she was infirmed, or let's say she had cancer, they were not going to allow her to even come back to her home nation.
Right.
This is not unheard of. And people in America don't realize what immigration rules are in other nations. But to go back to that original question of how can we, the people, stop this flood of migration? Do we need to sue our own government? Do we need to, I know governors have sued, many governors have sued, but I don't know where those cases are. Do you?
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. I mean, I guess, that's outside of the ballot box. I guess that's the last resort, is the judicial system. I mean, the government, I think there's a well-established implication that the federal government has to do its job and do its duty. And protecting the borders from invasion is, even if they try to, semantically juggle themselves out of it and say it's not an invasion, it clearly is an invasion. That's part of the responsibility. And the numbers are staggering. I remember the numbers tossed around when Trump was president was something like 20 million, 22 million or something like that. And the numbers that I have heard since Biden took office are the same.
Right.
An additional 22 million people have crossed the border.
So here we have these non-government organizations that are receiving federal funding to facilitate this going through. I think we should shut that down. Because,
I agree.
Shut this down. Cut off the funding to these organizations that are receiving these monies, facilitating the illegals being dispersed. Because in this article, it mentions they process these people, which you don't even know who they are. They're leaving their identification on the other side of the river or the other side of the border. So that they're coming in, oh yeah, I'm Jose Luis.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, they're all John Smith, and especially the criminals, right? The
Right.
criminals are John Smith. The criminals are not bringing their real, their real identity because they want to come over here and continue their criminal activities. I mean, all you got to do is read the weekly illegal marijuana bus in Southern Oregon to find out that there's a lot of criminals here that are not from this country.
Right, right. And so, but everybody's profiting from this moving forward, right? So, let's see, we don't really want to shut it down. The Catholic Charities, these non-governmental organizations, the buses, the airlines,
Yeah.
you name it, right? All of the food banks. I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
All the supplies, baby formula makers. I mean, we saw all that. Michael Yon reported some time ago. I think when he first came back. I don't know if it was when he came back from the Darien Gap or before he went, but we were talking, and he said, I saw one of their processing centers or holding centers or whatever it was, and he said and he sent me pictures. He said there was just rows and rows and rows of mobile buildings of some sort. And he said because they're out in the middle of nowhere, they're running off of dozens of generators, large, like 50 kVA generators. And I told him, I said, and he was talking about all the supplies, truckloads and truckloads of food and supplies and clothes and all this stuff. And I told him, I said, each one of those generators eats about $1,000 worth of diesel fuel a day. And he goes, wow, really? And I said, yeah. Wow. So if there's 20 generators out there, that's $20,000 a day. Taxpayers are coughing up, to provide air conditioning, basically, is what it is.
Right.
And yeah, it's an absolute mess. And I guess we can venture guesses as to what the end game is. Diluting the voting pool to, I'm not sure what, creating more chaos in society.
Society, more crime.
More crime, I think, but I think one of the things, and Mike and I talk about this fairly regularly, is there are the vast majority of the people, in his opinion, coming across the border illegally from whatever country are fighting age males, aged 18 to 40. Being a military guy, he goes, that doesn't look right to me, because, I don't know. There's the end game. Yeah, it is. It is. And remember that these are not just poor Mexicans or Guatemalans. The vast majority of these people are coming out of South America, but South America is being fed from Asia, from the Middle East, from Africa, and in some cases, Europe. So, these are not just poor families looking for, a better life. Some of the people that I saw him interview were people who, they had money by the time when they got here. There was going to be money waiting for them. They weren't going to be the guy sitting in the center aisle with the plastic bag full of his belongings. I mean, they were getting here because they wanted to get into the country and not be documented as being into the country. And for what reason? Not everybody coming across the border are just poor farmers looking for a better life. And I appreciate that. If I lived in some crap hole country and I could walk into the United States, I probably would. I mean, but that's not all of the people that are coming across. There's a concerted effort.
No, and when other countries are releasing their prisoners and those people are coming over, we've got people from all over the world that are coming down to the southern border and coming up, into our country, which actually is a little bit of a segue talking about releasing the prisoners. Governor Brown today commuted 17 death row convictions. And these were commuted all the 17 remaining death row convictions to life in prison. And I'll tell you, I do like Tim, the Senate Republican leader, Tim Knopp, he released the following statement. Did the people of Oregon vote to end the death penalty? I don't recall that happening. This is another example of the governor and the Democrats not abiding by the wishes of Oregonians. Even in the final days of her term, Brown continues to disrespect victims of the most violent crimes. And she has used her executive, that was the end of quote from Senator Knopp. And Brown has used her executive authority to pardon or commute more sentences than any other governor in the state's history, and more than all of Oregon governors in the last 50 years combined.
Yeah. Yeah, and voters, if if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, voters approved the death penalty at the ballot box in Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. So I posted that story there and in the Oregon Catalyst. And, yes, that's how we have the death penalty, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
and Measure 11.
This is something that just gets me of people, be it the governor or mayors of towns, and go, you know what? Or district attorneys, we're just not going to apply those laws.
Yeah.
I just get to pick and choose which ones we're going to be in effect and which ones we're just going to ignore. If you don't like the laws on the books, change the law, but abide by the law and live to the laws that are on the books.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, she has the authority to commute and pardon, and she's using it to gain favor with one group of people over the wishes of another, and it's not good governance. It's not a good way to govern. I mean, she doesn't need to do that. The
No,
governor doesn't need to do that. I mean, that's just, you don't need to go. I mean, with all the crap that's going on in the state of Oregon, I mean, there's plenty to do. You don't have to worry about 17 people that have been sentenced to death because they most likely deserve it, or at least a jury or their peers believe that they do. You don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about PERS. That's what you need to worry about.
Absolutely, they do. But they're not worrying about PERS. But you know what they are worried about? They are fearful of downtown. So now they're going to pay people to shop in downtown Portland. So
Who's
yes,
doing,
that's right.
Who's doing this? The city of Portland?
It is. So it is. This is in the Portland is trying to prop up its destroyed business community and frightened citizens by paying people to shop. That's right. Portland spent $500,000, $500,000 of those tax dollars, handing out free $50 vouchers to be spent, but only at select businesses. There's only 100 of the businesses out of 75,000 in the city that were privileged enough to participate in receiving the free taxpayer-backed gift cards. But you know what, Dave? You can also shop at many of the Portland's marijuana shops.
With your gift card?
With your gift card. Yes. Yeah, isn't that something? So there they are. It's the city of Portland. Now, the recent Willamette Week poll did a poll and discovered that 60% of the respondents were scared of downtown Portland and their own neighborhoods. Well, rightfully so. It kind of goes to what we've already been talking about, the high crime and not in supporting doing, we're having catch and release of criminals and people that are, breaking the law. And Portland isn't prosecuting near enough people. And you've got the BLM and Antifa and all of that over there. So Who the heck wants to go shop in downtown Portland? Not me.
Yeah, you're not going to catch me down there unless I have to go down there. I got a new accountant, so I don't have to go down there for that anymore. I can't see a reason I would ever go to downtown Portland now. Yeah, well, that's it's hard to it's hard to imagine you can get any further into this taxpayer grift than Oregon Democrats have already gotten into. But this is just another example of that. I mean, you know, how'd you like to have a couple of stores in your town and go to the city council and say, hey, I want you to give everybody a gift card to shop at my stores.
Right.
And here's your campaign contribution for your next run.
There you go. I mean, they picked out of 75,000 businesses, they picked 100, and one of them is the Gucci store. You can go buy $700 Gucci shoes and use your $50 gift card.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they're really trying to, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Here in Oregon and especially Portland, but in Oregon, this is the testing ground for communism. See what they can get away with, see what they can perpetuate for across the nation. And they're fast tracking these types of things.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Doing it, Washington's doing it. Oregon's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and progressive commies all over America are watching how it works with bated breath. And I think Oregon, for the most part, does not disappoint. There's apparently enough progressives in Oregon to do everything the government tells them to do. And I would say, on the COVID score, the government tyranny score, the overbearing, overreaching government score, I think Oregon has got to be somewhere in the top. I think people look at Oregon and they go, yeah, you can control people. Just look what they did in Oregon. They shut down all the businesses, told everybody to stay home, closed all the restaurants, told people they couldn't have birthday parties or funerals or weddings, and told people they couldn't go anywhere unless they wore a mask. And most people did it.
Surprising how many did.
Still a little stunned by that, especially those on my team that fell right into line immediately.
It's surprising how many still are, quite frankly.
It really is.
Occasionally, I see somebody driving in their car by themselves, and they've got their mask on.
Yeah.
And now, and when it's 17 degrees outside, okay, well, that helps keeps warm.
Well, I think this show, went a long ways towards letting people, at least on our team, because I think it's pretty much our team is watching the show. Letting people on our team know that this was BS. We educated a lot of people, and the original members of the podcast, Reynolds, tweeted to me yesterday that a story. I'm not sure that I read it now that I think about it. Gosh, I take in so much stuff I can't remember what I read and what I didn't read, but. The gist of the headline was that a climate emergency can be declared and will probably work because the lockdowns work so well in Oregon. And I think we were the first ones to say that on this show. I actually may have been the one that brought it up. I was the one that brought it up because someone had asked me at some point in time. We were talking about executive orders and how they, there's several different ORSs that cover those, and one ORS is ORS 179er, and that deals with energy emergencies, and it gives the governor dictatorial powers over everything in the state, economic, transportation, everything, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump, from exercising that state of emergency for COVID and that state of emergency for the new thing. Well, it's not new, but it's what we're going back to, which is climate change. And I think, maybe here first, because you did hear it here first. It wouldn't surprise me to have a Governor Kotek declare a energy emergency and limit driving, all kinds of things, public transportation, everything, in the name of a climate or an energy emergency / climate change move. And once again, everybody will be watching Oregon, see how does this work? It looks like Oregon's going to go along with it. That means we can do it in Washington. We can do it in California. We can do it in New Mexico. We can do it in the other blue states. So, it was a slippery slope that we are still on. I mean, it worked, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. In fact, there was a story that I glanced at for tonight, but it was an older story, and I want to say it's Clackamas. I don't remember what town in Oregon, but I want to say it's Clackamas that said we're going to on their docket is to ban natural gas stoves, ban the fireplaces, ban, they want, I'll tell you, they want control of every aspect, and they will use any tool that is available, I think, to get that. So I'm there with you, Dave. So I see Laurie says Oregon Health Director appointed today. Well, maybe this one's a doctor. Maybe this one's a doctor. Let's see if they actually know anything.
Or maybe just even a nurse would be okay. Somebody who has some sort of background or experience in the health field to run the Oregon Health Authority, which is, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the single largest line item in Oregon's budget, the Oregon Health Authority.
Oh gosh. Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see.
So
they've 20 years medical background and insurance.
Yeah, insurance. Yeah, because that's what the healthcare system in America is. It's an insurance racket.
Well, and they want to move to single payer healthcare.
Yeah.
And so that's,
well, the voters approved that.
Yes, they did. And so we'll have to see what comes out of that hot mess.
Yeah. For you,
listen, what about guns? What's the latest on Measure 114 today?
Another hearing in Harney County resulted in an additional 10-day injunction against the regulations imposed by 114. So, it was, I don't know, I'm sure we talked about it at some point on the show, but, the Harney County guy said, yeah, this is crap. Stop it until we can, take a better look at it and see if it's constitutional. And it was the state immediately appealed to the Supreme Court of Oregon. And surprisingly, I don't know what the deal was. They declined to hear the appeal. And so that circuit court ruling stands.
Yes, in fact, there were two appeals, and that they said no, we're not going to hear it. So we're going to have to see what happens with this. I really applaud Gun Owners of America and the Gun Owners Foundation, and for going into, and there's a couple of gun owners in Harney County, for bringing this lawsuit, because this is the one at this moment that is stopping Measure 114 from being enacted. But again, it's only temporary, and we're going to have to see how this goes. This if a federal judge deems it violates the Constitution, it would be struck down. And their argument is that they showed that there was multiple magazines, capacity magazines, before long ago in history, before the Oregon Constitution actually was formed. And so that this should all be protected by the Oregon Constitution, because this measure doesn't go just against the U.S. Constitution, it goes against the Oregon's Constitution.
Yeah, it seems like a great place to start.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
Recognize that? I got that from the 2016 RNC convention in Cleveland.
Oh, cool.
That's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
No, I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
I was going, is that the glass, that's over at SeaTac, or is that something that's in Australia? That's what I was.
The big welcome party for 2016 was held in a large park area, which includes the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So everybody got to tour it, and I got to see, Hendrix guitar and Jeff Beck's guitar, and some cool stuff, So I enjoyed it. There's a lot of people there. I wanted to just sit and ogle over stuff, Oh, wow, look at that. That's really cool, and take it all in. But there's a lot of people there, and I was having my I don't need to be of any service to anybody. So I'm big extrovert when there's an event going on and I have to be part of it and I have to MC it or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm all for it. But yeah, when I'm not, I don't have those responsibilities. I'm like, there's too many people here.
Hey, well, everybody, thank you for watching us, and share the message, spread it around, like us. Thank you for your input. I think David has frozen again. I'm not sure. So,
well, I can still hear you.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
wow.
you.
Yeah, that's strange that my, well, at least I don't look stupid. I mean, any more stupid than I normally look.
No, that one earlier, that zombie one was scary.
I might want to take a screenshot of that one. I kind of like it. It's pretty good.
There you go.
I look
everybody,
serious.
thank you very much, and have a great evening.